a decent job is something that you're doing, that you love doing, that you like doing, but of course something that pays you a fair pay, like ILO puts it, and also something that gives you something not just for living, but something to survive.
I work, I learn, I earn, and I thrive, then that could be decent. But in addition to that, I should be able to have, just like Ilo says, a high sense of dignity.
Well, before we even come to the word decent, let me also expound on what it will take to have jobs in Uganda. That is through entrepreneurship.
If we give the youth the mentorship and the guidance that they need to go into self-employment, to me, that is a safe and decent job.
A decent job in Uganda should be in position to ensure occupational health and safety standards. And then secondly, it should be in position to offer decent pay, a pay that is able to enable them fend for themselves, survive by themselves, their families, and any other person that depends on them. So
this is something where I can earn a fair income. I have security both at work and some social protection. But of which in Uganda, very, very few organizations or very few sectors do this.
In Uganda, it's called where when you're comparing the ILO definition and the Ugandan and the labor market for youth in Uganda is something incomparable, because the majority of the youth, they are working for daily living. In Uganda, it's called emereyalero, where they are working to get something to eat today. Majority of them, they belong in informal sector.
we cannot just restrict them to the formal sector. We cannot just restrict them to informal sector. My view is that they are achievable in both the informal and formal sector. It just depends on the interest and intention of the employers who are providing this work, and also the flexibility and mindset of the people who are providing themselves and providing their service to these employers.
So the problem that young people are facing is they want to live a lifestyle that they are not able to afford, and they do not want to do certain jobs just because they feel people will judge them and all that. So the person will tell you, how will my girlfriend see me as a chapati person? You know, how will my girlfriend see me as a person who is doing, who is working in a hotel, in a restaurant? You understand?
But when I finished university, I had a degree in information systems and technology, but I didn't get work. I decided to go into piggery, and right now I still do agriculture. But my colleagues will look at me as someone who is a failure. So what I would advise my fellow youth is, don't look at a decent work as you working for a white collar job.
You find that nowadays the jobs that involve hands-on skills are the ones that are paying more. I have friends with degrees, but they're earning more through photography, you know, and that's something some of us in Uganda look at as an indecent job. But there's money in photography, printing, and welding. So because we have this misconception that a decent job has to be white collar, you have to be working for a big organization or a company, you're going to have to leave something that is actually bringing you good income, you're happy, and it's something of your own, to go and do something else. I believe that there can be decent jobs in both the informal and formal sector. It's just about human dignity. How do we look at it? How do we view it as youth? And I believe it begins with our mentality.
Mindset means a lot in defining decency of a job. But me, I think decency lies in an individual having financial freedom and the ability to achieve basic needs at home. Whatever they are doing, which kind of job, themselves know whether it is decent or it is not decent.
There are differences when it comes to decent work for both men and women, but then it depends on from which angle are you looking at these differences. We have very many companies in Uganda that don't give that security to women. You know, when we are talking about maternity leave, I have experienced this and I have people that have stories that they lost their jobs when they went for maternity leave. I don't think there's equality in that.
It is supposed to be an equal thing for all of us. Like International Labour Organization puts it, it should be equality for all, like SDGs put it. But we're still finding a challenge in Uganda. Young women are failing to access certain decent jobs in the formal sector.
Then when I talk of a girl child, I will reach in a certain organization, I qualify to get this job. But they're going to ask me for kintu kidogo, like for some little money, the bribe, they need a kickback, yeah, for you to get a certain job. Very many girls are exchanging themselves with sex just to get decent work. You would ask, in which family do you come from? Are you from a renowned family?
Uganda had the highest women entrepreneurs, young women entrepreneurs. And that is something that has been created by the inequality in what we call the formal jobs.
If you don't find something informal, then you go to the informal sector. Young women have actually really come out. Like we'll be watching on NTV News, NBS News, that this young woman is now, has been driving like a border. There are quite a number of safe border women in it. There are women who have gone into agriculture and have big chunks of land and are doing agriculture at a very large scale. And I mean, they've come out to actually show men that it is not only in the formal, in the white collar jobs that we can have a decent pay, but it is even in this informal sector where we are doing this on our own and we are becoming bosses of ourselves that we are able to do this.
I think there is need for meaningful engagement of young people so that we really get to know what exactly they are engaged in.
We change the conditions of poor conditions of informal sector to make them to make that sector very attractive. So my idea on that is about to mobilize the people in informal sector, organize them, and empower them. For example, we can have what we call traditional or informal social protection. In traditional informal social protection, here we can, is still in informal sector, we can organize it and make it decent, or we have jobs in that sector which are decent. So it's just a matter of changing the conditions, and those conditions can be changed by our mindset.
Let these formal sectors start by employing youth on their different managerial levels. For I believe that the youth, we understand our problems better than anyone else.
As a youth, we need to be bold and attack our education system. How? I feel like our education system is so theoretical. You find that you've spent 16 years in school and you end up doing something you don't love. So I think we need to invest more in skilling the youth. I think as youth, we need to be bold enough to, advocate for a change in our education system. And I think that's how we shall start having decent jobs and appreciating the jobs that others think are not good enough for us who have gone to school.
But what can be done in Uganda? I think decence lies in self-employment. And self-employment, the environment in Uganda is not so friendly for young people, for everyone to start up a business, because very many people start up businesses and they fail to sustain them because we don't have that kind of support. The environment is not so friendly. It is not so supportive. That is why we have to advocate for the redefinition and review of financial inclusion approaches such that people can be able to start up businesses and etc.